The state of Kansas has officially passed a ban on transgender students participating in female sports. So now this bill is especially heinous, again, like all of the other trans bans, and completely unnecessary, but has an added terrible portion. Now, Laura Kelly, who was the governor, ended up rejecting the bill, but unfortunately, Kansas Republicans ended up overriding her veto. And so now we have this trans sports ban, and part of it would include genital inspections. So basically, to enforce this ban to keep transgender children out of women's sports, specifically trans women, there would be physical examinations of genitals. And yet it's the LGBTQ people that are the groomers. No, you literally passed a bill that allows them to inspect the genitals of children to see if they're actually biologically women or assigned female at birth. What? And by the way, this not only will obviously affect trans girls, but also there are girls out there that maybe some people might think look too masculine, and so what's going to happen? Well, these girls are going to have inspections as well. It's a gross violation of privacy in an effort to try to stop a so-called problem that isn't actually a problem. Look, there are some places where they have introduced these bans that have no transgender students in women's sports, and they still decide, we're going to do it anyway, because it's not about trying to protect women's sports. They didn't give a damn about women's sports. They never fund women's sports or girls' sports. They don't do any of that stuff. No, the whole thing is to try to just be discriminatory against transgender people. They have a war against transgender girls. Now, HB 2238 was enacted into law on Wednesday after Republicans in the state overrode the veto by 84 to 40 in the House and 28 to 12 in the Senate. The law, which will take effect on July 1st, prohibits biologically male students from participating as women or girls in sports, either in teams or female categories, does allow for mixed teams and for female students to participate in men's sporting events. During a February session in the bill in February, Republican Representative Barbara Wasinger, who introduced the legislation, was asked how the law would be enforced, and she said that it would happen during a student's sports physical. When queried by opposition lawmakers on whether this amounted to a genital inspection, which it does, she reportedly said that she couldn't recall. Oh, I don't know. I can't recall whether or not this allows for invasive genital inspections to make sure that they have no penises. Weak sauce answer. Weak. Now, Mallory McMurrow, Michigan's Democratic State Senate Majority Whip, reacted to this, and I think her answer is her comment on this is spot on. Quote, forced genital inspections of children. The Republicans who claim to care about protecting children voted for forced genital inspections of children because they're afraid a trans kid might want to play on a team with their friends. Davis Hammett, president of youth voter registration organization Loud Light, described this as a very dark and disturbing day. Now, Wasinger actually tried to defend this bill by claiming in a March 2nd Instagram post that men had biological advantages over females that made competing against them not fair. Now, is that true? Well, a 2017 study found that there was no direct or consistent research suggesting transgender female individuals or male individuals have an athletic advantage. She also claimed that the bill ensures that we're not moving backwards on 50 years of advances for female athletes. But this is also discriminatory against female athletes who, again, may be confused for transgender athletes. You're also, subjecting them to genital inspections, accusing them of being transgender. What I've seen already are reports of, again, cisgender students, cisgender assigned female at birth students who didn't win, accusing another cisgender assigned female at birth as being a trans person, and therefore, that person's trans. They obviously are a man because they have an advantage. No, everybody's built differently. And while, yes, there are individuals that have, since every person is different, everybody does have different, I guess not everybody is able to compete when it comes to, sports exactly the same as everyone else. But there are acceptable limits in the differences of ability and, things like, I guess, muscle mass and all that stuff in sports. We already have those, those limits. We already have that range of what's, acceptable. The problem here is what they're doing. A lot of the right wingers in this situation, people who hate trans people, are coming in and saying, well, we think that they have, and this is not substantiated, but we think they have these advantages that are too high. And, women will never be able to compete, except for the fact that women who are assigned female at birth are constantly being able to compete against transgender people and winning. That's not always the case, but it happens pretty often. Because generally when it's sports, it comes down to skill. It comes down to training. And sometimes people are just having a bad day. And so what this is, again, as one of you points out, yes, there are people that are massively sore losers who will use this to their advantage to try and, of course, demonize other people who, again, may be cisgender, in order to, accuse them of being transgender, accuse them of being, somebody who shouldn't be allowed to compete. Maybe they've got, you've got too much testosterone. Yeah, that's what it is. Well, there are women who are assigned female at birth that have higher testosterone than the average. And I don't think that they should be able to be banned from sports either. Look, this is, again, a so-called solution in search of a problem, and really just an excuse to marginalize other people in their hateful culture war.